Okay, we're up to the two dots on with Chavdalit on the base, right? Chavdalit on the base. I don't know if we're up to the two dots. Yeah, we're up to the bottom. We make it to the bottom of Yehuda Marav. B'chol Yom B'Yom. Okay. So Chaf Dalet on the base, 3 lines to the bottom at the words at the end of the line. I'm Rabbi Yehuda Marav. B'chol Yom B'Yom, each and every day, Bas Kol Yotzas V'Meres, a Bas Kol goes out in the crease. Kol Oilam Kulo Nizlam B'Shvil Chananya Chanina Beni. We speak about Chanina Ben Daisa. All the whole day, the world comes out. Everyone is nourished from Chanina. The Chanina Beni Dayoi B'Kav Charuv and Me'erev Shabbos, and Chanina. It's enough. He doesn't have to be sustained because he only eats what? A kav of baksa from one Shabbos to the next. So again, we're discussing the greatness and the piousness of Chanina ben Daisa. Mendy one Chav Gimel on the base, the bottom line. Chav Gimel on the base, Chav Dal on the base, Chav Dal on the base, Chav Dal on the base, the bottom line. Okay, good. Havi Regila de Bisayu Machme Tanura Komali de Shabbata. Now they had no food whatsoever. They had nothing. They had nothing to make for Shabbos. But she was embarrassed. She was embarrassed that they had nothing to make for Shabbos. So what would they do? She'd heat up her oven, Erev Shabbos, the shadya, and she would go throw in a katrata. She'd throw in some substance that would go again smoke that people should think that she's baking something. Okay. Mishum kisufu, because she was embarrassed. Havile hach shivavta bishta. She had this neighbor who was not so nice. Omra. Michi, let me see. 1 second. Yadana, the less luvaloi media. I know they have nothing. My kuli high. What's the smoke that's coming out of this oven? So Oslo b'torfa abba. She knocked on the door, and Ichsifa, Reb Chanina's wife, she was embarrassed. Va'aylo la'andaroina. She ran into the inner room. It's abelay nisa, and that's happened. The chazal tanur moli lachma, that the neighbor saw that the oven that she thought was empty was full of bread. Va'agona moli lisha. And the bowl that they would go ahead and knead in was full of dough. So Amallah, the neighbor called her, Planisa, hurry up. I see masa the kacharach lachma. Bring a, the thing that the shovel, they used to take it out. What's the word for it? A peel. That is the word, a peel. Right? They bring a peel to go ahead and take it out. So Amallah, Rabbi Chanina's wife said, Afani lo hachiayli. That's why I went in to get this shovel. And Tana, Afi lehevi Mardon nechneses. In fact, she had gone in to go ahead and bring the shovel. She was accustomed to Nisim happening to her. So, another Maisa with the wife of Chanina ben Daisa. Amalei de Visayu. Chanina's wife once said to him, "Guys, if these are mamish are the classic, I got this. Ad emas nasal ben itztar kulihai. How long am I going to go and live this such a way? We have nothing. Amalah, my neva. What should we do?" So she told him, "Boy, rachme the niasil chamidi daven. They should give us something." So boy Rachmi, he davened, and Yotzel came in pieces yad from Shemayim, came out what looked like a hand. And gave him one leg of a golden table. And then he told her, I had a dream. I see the tzaddik the ochli apoisu de dahava. Right, the tzaddik and they're eating on tables of gold. The islay tlas kare that has 3 legs. The tray kare, and your table only has 2 legs. That a tripod table. But your table only has 2 legs. I wonder if it's going to be rickety, right? Yeah. Anyway, so you're going to have 2. So Amalei nichlacha demechli achli kudehai alma apoisu de mishlim. She said, do you want to like live that everyone has a table that's 3? Vanona apoisu de mechasa. We should have a table that's only 2. So that's what he told her. So Amalei, she said, umay neva, what could we do? So boy rachme de nishkalinu minach. Go ahead, Davin. They should take it back. Boy rachme chanina Davin v'shaklu. They took it back. Tana, Gadol hayenes achron yosem yarishain. The Gemiri, because we have Messiah, the Miyav Yohiv, things are given from Shemayim, Mishkal Shaki, are not taken back. So I saw a beautiful. There's the Bashir Mitzvah Melach brought down probably Hasidic Sefer from not Bnei Yisrael, but Binas Yisachar, and he said that you can bring a raya from the Luchais that they don't take something back in Shemayim. Why was it necessary for us to break the luchais? Why can't you just give it back to Hakadosh Baruch Hu? So what do you see? To get it is one thing, but to go ahead right and give it back, that's another thing. It's very nice. It was nice to have. It was nice to have. Okay. Chad Beit Shimshei, one Friday Erev Shabbos, Chazio Lebarte the Haveat Siva. Again, another classic. That Chanina saw that his daughter she was Sabrachan. She was sad. Amala Biti. She said, Biti, my daughter, Lamayat Siva, why you sad? So she said, Klishal Choimitz Neschalafli, Beklishal Shemen. I made a mistake. I took a kli of, instead of lighting with oil, I lived with vinegar. So Amallah, Biti, my echbas lach. When he can't, Misha Amal Shemen v'yid, like the one who says that Shemen should burn, who yoy melachaymitz v'yid, like he could say that vinegar could burn. Tana hayedolik v'haylach kalayam kula, it lit the whole time. At sheheviu mimenu or lavdallah, and they would go ahead and they would be able to use it. What? Be able to use it for havdalah.
You had a problem with that, yes, right? So now you use something from a
For Ma'aser Nisim, right? So Ma'aser Nisim, it could be that it could be for everybody. For a yachid, it could be okay.
Specifically,
yeah. In other words, and in this case, I think the Torah I saw was Pshat wasn't a nest anymore. What's the nest? The nest is that vinegar doesn't burn, but the teva changes. If this vinegar is burning, it's showing that vinegar burned. So it's not in other words, it's machlif. It's not like a nest. It's a nest initially but that it continued burning. Once it was machlif. I forgot the name. I saw it in the Mesifta. It's a very good point. It's a very good point. Okay, continuing this unbelievable stories about Chanina ben Daisa. Chanina ben Daisa had easy. He had these goats. I think I was going to ask how he ended up with goats. He had no money. People were complaining. Come, mafsidin, the goats that damaging our fields. They were eating. Mafsidin. If it's true, in other words, he'd be dafka makbet that they wouldn't be, right? And they said they were. So he took it as a challenge. He took it because ika mafsidan. If you're telling me the mafsid, I'll tell you what. The chlinu dube. I hope the beers lead them up. And if not, and if not, let each one of the goats come back with beers on their horns. That's what he told them. In other words, if you're right, then it won't have any easy anymore. Let the bears eat them. Right? The rams and the bears, right? And if not, I was thinking of the Navy. The Navy's the goats, right? Navy. Anyway, and if not, guess who won? The Bears lost. Right? The Rams won. Right. Anyways, very good. Okay. So what happened? In the evening, I see each one of them brought back bears on their horns. I would like to see that, right? She had a neighbor. They called Bonya Besa. She was building a house. But the beams didn't reach the walls. They're too short. So they don't reach. What's your name? Aiku. My name is Aiku. So Aiku nimtu kishurayach. Aiku, your beam should get it long enough. And Tana, the mamish went so long that one amma stood outside, another one, like in the Mexican houses, you can see them outside. The beams were made longer by sections adding to them. Tanya Flame said, Flame said, I saw it, and the beams they were extending outside the walls in our next direction. Family, this is the bias that Chanina ben Daisa covered the beams with his davening. And going back to the Maisa with the goats, where did he get goats from? He didn't have a dime to his name. And he was so poor. How could he go ahead and have Behemoth in Eretz Yisrael? So the answer to the second one is that Kandesa would go ahead and graze them in the midbar, not in the Yishuv. Amra Pinchas, Ma'asav Adam al Pesach Beisai, a person passed by Rabbi Klina's house, and he left by accident. He left some chickens there. She found them. And Rabbi told her, "I'll turkly me but say them. Don't eat their eggs, right? They're not ours." The Hirbu baits them with and eventually, guess what? They not only had a lot of eggs, they had a lot of chickens. And they were a problem. So Machron, they sold the eggs, they sold the chickens. The with the money they got, they bought goats. Pam achas of Isa Adam.
Even though they weren't theirs.
What? They sold it. Again, we're going to see in the limit CS, the Hesha, you have to return something. Let's say something's going bad, right? So you have something to return. We're going to see Balaam
They were just annoying them. They weren't.
Right, but he's saying, no, he's saying that he went out to the bears, that he let them out to the bears. Now, how is he allowed to let them out to the bears?
What?
If he's not his goats, how is he allowed to take the?
Because he knew that he was taking care of them. They were accusing him of being mafsid, and he said that can't be. So he knew for sure. It was for him. It was okay. Anyway, so annoying means that it was a pain to take care of. It wasn't like they made noise and right. Gedenkt. Okay, good. This geschmack schmeck, right? Okay. Anyway. So they sold the izim, and Pamachas Ovu Oisa Adam Shavu Bimenu Hatana Goylim. The guy who lost the chickens, he passed by. Vam Lechaveri Bekani Nachti Hatana Goylim Shali. Yeah, I left my chickens here. Shomer Chanina heard this. I'm a lawyer. 1 second. Yeshlam Mehem Simin. You have a simin? I'm a hain. And Nasla Simin. He gave his simin. But not less izim. He took the goats. The hain izim that Isu Dubi Bekanayu. These are the izim that bought the goats, the bears with their horns. Yeah, I'm fascinating Gemara. Okay, well, now we're going to have a Gemara with Elazar ben Padas. Again, this comes up very often. Rabbi Elazar ben Padas was a Talmud Muvak Rebbe. He was a Smicha. He was a Talmud Muvak Rabbi Yochanan. He was an Amoira. The Tana Rabbi Elazar is Rabbi Elazar ben Shamua, and he was a Talmud of Rabbi Akiva. So now we had the Gemara earlier. Remember, I mentioned to you the Gemara where Reish Lakish died. Rabbi Yochanan got so they bought Rabbi Elazar, who was a Talmud. Rabbi Yochanan, they bought him, and everything that Rabbi Yochanan said, he brought rayas to it. And Rabbi Yochanan said, "I don't need rayas. We want Rav Chodesh Shmaitzer like Reish Lakish." So this is Elazar ben Shemua that we're discussing. So Elazar ben Padas, Rabbi Elazar ben Padas, Rabbi Elazar ben Padas the Chikolei Milsa Tuva. He was very poor, very very poor. Ovid Milsa, and one time he bloodlet. And we know one thing: if you bloodlet, you're going to have to go ahead and you're going to have to eat something. How he had nothing whatsoever to eat. So Shakal Berod the Tuma. What did he do? He took some garlic. B'shad Yipum, and he put it in his mouth. He got fainted. He didn't have what to eat, and he fell asleep. They went to find out what he was doing. They saw in his sleep he was crying and he was laughing. And there was a light that was coming out from his forehead. When he got up, why were you crying and laughing? So he told them, I had a dream, and I was sitting next to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How long can I continue to suffer? I have nothing. He said, Elazar bini, Freudian. Elazar bini, you want me to go back and turn the world back to nothing, to change your mazel? Maybe in the next world that I turn around, you'll be in the time where you have some food. So he said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're going to hold turned around and it's only a maybe. If it was a vaday, I could say maybe, but as a suffix, I should turn the world over, right? So Amalek, and he said to him, listen, the chayt fei or the chayana. He said, did I live most of my life already, or am I have more to live? So I'm like the chayt, you live most of your life. Because Baruch told Rabbi Elazar ben Padas, you live most of your life already. So I'm the kameyim kain lebin, and I don't need you to turn the world around. So I'm Ali, so Rabbi Elazar, because Baruch said Rabbi Elazar, the high agwa the amali, but in the reward that you told me, don't turn the world around. I'm going to give you in the next world. Klesa Naharvasa, the Mishka Afar Samayin, 13 rivers of Shemen Afar Samayin, rivers of balsam oil, Dachyan pure, Kibras Vidikla. Right, the Mamish is the Kibras is the Euphrates River, Vidikla is the Tigris. The Ma'agnamu that you should enjoy them. So Amula Kamei, sit in front of the Kodesh Baruch Hu, Haivasuloi, that's all you're going to give me? So I said to him, well, why will I give you anything more? What will I have left for your chaverim? So I said, "Va'anam migaver the less lebina. I'll take it from a person who lost his right." So Machion be'askultov apukse. He flicked me with his finger on my forehead. B'amali Elazar beri, Elazar my son giri gach giri. My arrows have struck you. I have no idea what this means. Now last part. Okay. Anyway, so why was he laughing? And why was he crying? Right. So he was laughing because again look what he has. He's crying because I guess most of his life is over already, and he can't change. And his forehead was Kadosh Baruch Hu flicked him in his forehead. The question is like this: there's a we say a mazel Yisrael. Yisrael's, a person is born under a certain mazel. A person is born under a certain mazel. Whether you be a chacham, an asher, a gibor, these are things that you're born with. But we say you're not limited to your mazel, right? Mazel can change al yidei tefillah, ma'asim tovim, and tshuva. It can change. Now, it could be that a mazel Yisrael is speaking about the tzibur, not the yachid. It could be it's speaking about only the tzibur, not the yachid. But over here, l'chayra, he has to change the whole world. I mean, l'chayra, why does he just change his mazel? In other words, Avram had a mazel, right? Avram ein lo ben, Avraham yesh lo ben. Sarai ein lo ben, Sarah yesh lo ben. You change your name. We know Mishana Malka, Mishana Mazel. So why does HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you want me to change the world? So it's a beautiful pshat, like this. Famous question. Sadik V'Ralei Rasha B'Tayva. Moshe Rabbeinu asked the question. Says the Chavetz Chaim, when you go ahead and use something, our view is so limited. If you go ahead, you go like this, you look through your fingers, and you see a person, he's smiling. You open it up, and you see he's smiling, and he's a serial killer, and he's killing somebody right next to him. You only see, it's a geschmack person. Then you see like he's a nut, and he's killing something. You don't get a global view of everything. You don't know what one action can go ahead and change everything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has the whole machinations of the world in front of him. And there's a reason for everything. There's a reason for this poverty. There's a reason for this wealth. There's a reason for this accident. There's a reason for everything. Everything goes in an order of things. If you change one thing, it changes not only that thing, it changes more. So in other words, the world has been destined a certain way. You're destined in this world to be this way. You want to start again? Efsha. But you have to start again. So that's Chavetz Chaim's what. It's a certain positive way of looking at something that we don't understand anything because our view is that. We don't understand anything because there's a global view that we're not getting. It's the same answer to the most famous question. What's the most famous question? How can there be bechira if HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what we're going to do? And the same answer. There's no time by Kadosh Baruch Hu. He has a global view of everything. Right now, the civil war is happening. Right now, who knows what's happening? Everything is happening. It all happens. There's no time by Hashem. So there's no time by Hashem. It's all there. Whereas for us, everything's time. This next second, everything. It's the way things work. Okay, it's a way of understanding a very difficult concept. Okay. And anyway, that was why his forehead was what? Because he got flicked on his forehead. Now we're going back to what the Tainus. Reb Chama Bar Chanina Gazat Hanisi was guys with Tainus for Yossi Mitra, it didn't rain. Amalei, Rabbi Shua and Levi Gazat Tainus. Don't you love hearing that? Yeah. You did that. Rabbi Shua and Levi Gazat Tainus Yossi Mitra, and it rained. Some of the who, how do you? How can you compare me? He's Rabbi Shua, and who am I? So Amalei, then he's saying, okay, let's go bring him in. So they bring in Rabbi Shua ben Levi. And he had kavana. After the Tavret Tzibur Lebaisei, had people go ahead and they'll start doing tshuva. The Yossi Mitra, boy Rachmi Yossi Mitra. They both daven, nothing happened. Amalahu Nichalahu Sheyavai Mata B'Shvaleinu. You agree that the rain should come in our merits? So Amalei Hein, sure, no problem. Amar Rakia Kasi Panayich. In other words, they wanted to get the people to go ahead and bring in their schlusim. And that didn't work. They said, what about us? Okay, let's go for it. Rakia Kasi Panayich. Let your Rakia let it cover its face, meaning with clouds. It didn't work. Kama isn't pnei Rakia. Chutzpah that they don't come. Ikase the Ose Mitra. They became the sky. The clouds came and rain came. Levi gazet Hanisa. Levi was gazet Tainus. And Levi was Gedoli Amaroyim. Yossi Mitra rained in Kamel. Could be a Tani. It was Rebbe. It was the time of Rebbe. Yossi Mitra. Amal Lefanav. Rebbeinu Shalom. Aliyasa v'yashafta b'marim. You went and sat up on high. Ve'inatam racham al b'nechi. Mami, she spoke to Kodesh Baruch Hu be'azus. You left the world and what? You're not having rachmanas in your children. Asimitra began to rain. Ve'itla, but Levi became a hinketik. He became a cripple. Am Rebbe Laza la'olam al yitach adam dvarim klape ma'ila. A person should not go ahead and speak in such a manner to Kodesh Baruch Hu in a asistic way. It was a great person who spoke to Kodesh Baruch Hu in a very detrimental way. Vitlan became a hinketik. He became crippled. Umani Levi, it was Levi. Fred the Gemara, v'hagar malay. That caused it. But Levi achve ki the kame the Rabbi v'itla. We have a Maisa in Gemara and Brachas, or in somewhere we had it in the Sukkah Megillah that there's a shtachavia using your thumbs. That you put your thumbs and you lift yourself up. And Kitzah puts tremendous pressure on your hip. And that's how he became a hinkadika. Saki said he became a hinkadika because he classified Kadosh Baruch Hu in such a nazistic way. L'chari became it because the way he said it. So, and for the Gemara, no. Hava garmalei. Pirish. He had to do a chait. In order that he go and get punished, he had to do a chait. What was the chait? He spoke to Kadosh Baruch Hu this way. And what was and how did the punishment come about? When he performed kida in front of Rabbi. Rabbi Chia bar Lunyane, we never had him before. Shaminu lahanach anoni tekarmei. He was this.
What's his name? Also did the same thing. He made a circle around it. He says,
So why did the Gemara say? Finish the Gemara. Oma ben Shimon ben Shetach ilmoli choyne ata. I put you in chayrim. Finish the Gemara, Mandy. The Gemara is Yechasha.
Yeah, I know. Not here.
No, here, yes, the Gemara. No, because this is the Maisa with him. When we had the Gemara with Chani Amago, okay, we had that Gemara, but there was someone missing that day. I want to take attendance, but there wasn't you. You weren't here. Says the Gemara, you were seeing another daf. Nothing. Anyway, you saw these clouds are talking. When clouds talk, what it means is the malachim in charge of those clouds. Let's go. We'll give some more time in a moyav. I'm the fun of Rabbi Shloim. Rabbi said, Rabbi Shloim. When you gave the Torah to Klal Yisrael, Chazat al Kalumas Olam, you went all around like Kibble and accepted the Achshavat and Iceland Mata. Now you're going to give Amin Moyav Mata. Shadi Hach. Let it stay over here in Eretz Yisrael. Shad you Aduchtai would stay in that place and Mad and arranged in Eretz Yisrael. Darish Rabbi bar Luyani. Since we spoke about him, let's bring in another thing. My Dechsiv Tzaddik Chatam Yifrach Keres B'Van Yiske. But tzaddik like a tama, you will feel flower like a seed of Lebanon. He'll grow tall. And these two types of trees. If you say a palm tree, why do you say a cedar tree? Why do you say a palm tree? If you would say a tamar, not an erez, I would say mat just like as a day tree. The trunk, if you cut it off, doesn't go back, it doesn't regenerate. So kachnema difference is erez because an erez regenerates. Ilunema erez would say erez. Tamar. My erez ain't nice to Paris. It doesn't do Paris. Tzaddik chas v'shalom ain't nice to Paris. The kachnema tamar v'nema erez. So therefore, it says tamar that makes Paris. It says erez that what that gizay machlif that it regenerates. Fred Gemara, the erez gizay machlif. You want to say that what that erez regenerates, that a seed that tree regenerates. But Tanya, you have a brisa halokeach ilon mechavere lakutz. If a person, he buys a tree from his friend, he wants to cut it down, and he wants to use the wood. Magbiu, in other words, you're buying it for the wood, but you want to go ahead and ensure that it'll grow again. You want to rejuvenate, right? So now, Magbiu min akarka tefach. You leave at least one tefach above the ground, and you cut, and that tefach that you leave, the tree will grow. The kite says in cut. Bisadin a shikma, if it's a sadin a shikma sycamore tree, shnei tefachim. You leave 2 tefachim. The besulas hashikma, if it's a besulas hashikma, it's a different type. Shleishet tefachim, you leave 3. The konum u'gefanim, if it's reeds and vines, mina pakakula maila, you cut from the lowest knot of the tree and above. But the kolim, if it's date trees, u'be'arozim, and if it's cedar trees, this is what we need. Chayfa lamatu misharis, might as well dig it up. Why? Vishain geza machlef. So you see over here, arozim do not go ahead. So you said Tama is fruit and doesn't regenerate. Eretz is not fruit, it regenerates. Here you see it doesn't regenerate. The kolim, which is a Tamar, and a rosin, which is cedars, doesn't regenerate. Kasha, and for the Gemara, Hachamaya Skinon, Bisharmini rosin. There are different types that we said, there's 10, as we're going to see in a second. This is one that doesn't regenerate, and the one that it's tzaddik is compared to regenerates. The Rav Huna, Dam Rav Huna, Asarimine rosin, the 10 types of rosin, Shtemar, Etim, Amiba, Eretz, Shita, Adas. And then you look at the pasuk up in Rosh Hashanah, it says the rest. The great Rebbe Eliezer ben Horkinis, Shegaza Sholish Esri Tinias Al Tziva. Remember, he had 3, then 7, right? A total of 13. So he was guys all the Taniyos, and for Layod Gushamim it didn't rain. Bachreina, after the last 13th fast, his Chila at Tziva they began to leave shul. Amalhem Eliezer said as they were leaving, to kantem kfarim latzvachem, you just prepared graves for yourself. All of a sudden, the people started crying. Again, once the people machliya themselves to Kodesh Baruch Hu, that causes rain to come. Again, the in of Achna we've seen throughout, taking off your shoes. having ash put on your head. We see there's all in your of being machnia, self-clapping Mila, going ahead and being and humbling yourself, Kodesh Baruch Hu, and as a result of this humbleness and realizing the truth of Ma'asim Tovim, that brings rain. That brings rain. Shuv Ma'isa, another incident, Rebbe Eliezer Shiored Lefnei Ateva. He went down into Davin again. Hashem, therefore, it was always going down. V'ama Esrei Aber Brachas. He said Shemon Esrei with 24 brachas. We said, remember, we had Zechreinu Shayfreis, or actually, yeah, Zechreinu Shayfreis and 4 Prokmatilim, right? V'loinen, he wasn't answered. Yorav Akiva, Achrav Akiva, and then went down. V'amar, he said, a famous tefillah guy, we say, Avinu Malkeinu Elam Melchalata, Avinu Malkeinu Laman Rachim Aleinu, V'yordu Geshamim, Hayim Ranim Rabbana. They began to speak against Rabbi Eliezer, that Rabbi Akiva was greater, Rabbi Eliezer was supposed to be his Rebbe. Yotze Baskel, V'amar Baskel said, Lo Mifnei Shezeh Gadol Mizeh, not because Rabbi Akiva was greater than Rabbi Eliezer, El Shezeh Marvel Midoisa, Rabbi Akiva is what? He's Marvel Midoisa, he goes against his base nature, he forgives people, Zayin Marvel Midoisa, whereas Rabbi Eliezer is not. So therefore, that was the Tan Rabbanan. Ad Masa Yeh Geshamim Yordim Ba'tziba Paiskim Mitanisam. They're fasting, right? How long do they have to fast? And if what, that should stop fasting. In other words, it begins to rain. At which point in time, when the rain falls, do we say, okay, I accomplished what I want with I accomplished what I want with my kindness, and now let me what? Let's go ahead and stop the kindness. How long does it take? What? Not the amount. We didn't have the amount, right? We spoke about that, whether you have to complete it or not. Yeah, but this is speaking about exactly how much. Okay, Tanu Rabbanan, and that was speaking about a yochid. This would be about a tzibur. Yochid has to complete his time. It's a tzibur. We saw machloikis in the Mishnah. Maybe whether it's chatzai sayoim or whether it's netzachama. So again, this remember we had all the parak was in one concise. Tomorrow also. Oh, by the way, guys, tomorrow I won't be here. I have my ankles by mitzvah. But it'll be posted. The share will be posted. I'll have it posted. I'll say it earlier in the day. I'll have it. I'll say it tomorrow morning at sometimes. But it's all one big mishnah. It's the same thing. So we're going to finish the parak tonight, Bez Hashem, and then we're going to do it. And we'll have it posted. So I'll get it on early in the day. So anytime you want. But
The timeline takes it from joining live.
what the timeline? I have no idea. By 10 o'clock.
No,
You put it on. If you're there, we're there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll probably be saying share between 10 and 10:30.
but you put on WhatsApp first.
Yeah. I'll put it out there. Like Tan Rabbanan. How much does rain has to fall that the tzibur that you accomplish your mission and you can stop fasting? The machresha has a piece called the coulter. The coulter would go and it would create a furrow. The depth of that coulter, that's the amount of rain, it would fill the furrow. The chum, it depends. The charefa, if it's dry earth, then tefach. If the water penetrates the tefach, that would do the job. The beinonus, if it's halfway dry, tfachayim 2 tfachim, and avuda, and one that's already plowed, then shloisha tfachim 3 tfachim. Tanya, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Omer, ein lecha tefach mil ma'ila. There's no time that the rain comes that gives a tefach from a tap. She'ein toim yoytz lekrosei shloisha tfachim. That the water that's below goes up 3 tefachim. So if one comes down from above, 3 tefachim come below. I've a tiny tefachayim. It has to be two. It doesn't come up 3, it comes up 2. Like kasha, kan be'avuda, kan b'shein avuda. The second brisa says it's 2 is speaking about it was a plowed field. And ein avuda, it's 1 to 3. The other one's 2 to 2. Amar Vlasa, kishemachnisim es hamayim b'chog, when they would go ahead, kishemachniskan es hamayim b'chog, when they would go ahead wide and they would do nisach hamayim and nisach hayayin. Tahoim oim l'chaveiroi, the Tahoim would say to its chaver, Abba meimecha, your waters they should gush forth. Kol shnei reim ani shemei. I hear the voice of 2 friends. Who are the 2 friends? Is the yayin and the mayim. Shnemar tahon el tahoim koirei l'kol sinarecha. The deep waters they speak out to the coil of your tziner, your canals. Amarabba. I saw this malach ridya. Rashi brings ridya was the malach that would announce rain. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Maftecha rain, we saw in the first daf is the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But there was a malach who would announce the rain, that's ridya.
Isn't that Afri?
What? No, Afbri? No, Afbri was a Geshem, but I think Afbri brings rain. from HaKadosh Baruch Hu telling him to do the rain. This one announces it. This seems to be an announcer. Right. No, I think it's a good kasha. What's the in Ridge and Afri? I'm just guessing, and I'm saying what I think.
This one just
I don't know. Okay, it's a good kasha. Anyway, he saw him. He looks like a calf, and his lips are cracked. The he stands between the upper waters and the lower waters. The upper waters, he says, go sprinkle your waters. The Haima to the ones underneath because he says, let them bubble up. Shenemar hani sonim niru ba'aretz, that the sonim, things that blossom, should be seen in the land. We said if it came down before Nates, they didn't have to fast. Rabbi, as I said, until Chatzais. Tanarabanan. They don't have to complete the fast. If water comes down, the rain comes before Chatzais, they don't have to complete the fast. If the Chatzais, then Yashlimu. Because he's the biggest makel. 9.5 hours in the day. After 9.5 hours in the day, they have to complete the fast. She came at Sina by Achav Mel Yisrael. You find by Achav was told that as a result of his Avodah Zarah that his kids are going to die. He was makabelit and he did tshuva. It says, watch his Anit Mitesha Shas Maida. He started fasting 9.5 hours into the day. So we see that's considered a fast. Shenemar Hariyisik Hi Nichna Achav. Do you see that Achav, that he humbled himself when he found out this bad news? Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya goes to Tanisa. Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya was goes to Tainus. V'yodlam Geshamim La'achan Eitzachama and Saval Ashlimina. They wanted to complete the Tainus. Amalei Rabbi Ami Koydim Chatzos V'Chatzos Shenina. We learned Koydim Chatzos Nef Chatzos like Rabbi Eliezer. Shmuel Akotin goes to Tanisa. Was goes to Tainus V'yodlam Geshamim Koydim Eitzachama. It rained before Nates. They thought it was in the schus of the tzibah that it rained. Amalahen Shmuel Akotin told them, Em Shalchem Mashal. And Rabbi who asked for a prize from his Rabbi, from his master. Amalahem, what does the master say? Give him what he needs, so I won't have to hear him again. So in other words, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Kadosh Baruch Hu didn't want you before. He didn't want to hear it from you, but not because you're really deserving. Shuv Shmuel Akotin Gazet Tanisi was going to Tainus Yadlam Geshamim Lachash Gesachama. It came after Shkia, and the Gesham came after Shkia Sachama. Kesuvim Am Loima Shvachei Shal Tzibuhu. That was Shvachei Tzibur. In other words, Hashem wanted to hear the tefillah the whole day. Guys, if it fell after Shkia, after the fast is over, right? So obviously, Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to hear the tefillah the whole day, and the hell was in the Shvachei Tzibur. So Amram Shmuel Akotin told them, Lo Shvach Shal Tzibuhu, El Em Shulchem Mashal. Lamad David Daimel Levet Shem Vakish Pras Rabbi. Yes, for a prize from his master. V'amalahem, he says to them, Him tinuloi achi yismat make it. Wait until what? Wait till the Eved is what? He's humbled in his place. Piakach tinuloi. So therefore, once they're humbled, but it wasn't the schus of what they did. So therefore, according to Shmuel Akotin, how do you know it's the shvach of the tzibah at any time? If you say Mashav Ruach from Nashazika, that's the schus of the tzibah. Marid Ageshem Vasa Mitra, that's the schus of the tzibah. It has to be what? With no waiting. Exactly. Tit for tat. You ask for rain, you ask for wind, you got wind. You ask rain, rain. Then it's schus tzibah. But anything that's contingent upon time could be he doesn't want to hear, or it could be what? He just wants you to humble yourself, but not because that you're deserving. Ma'aseh because of Tainus Balud and the fast, and then the rain came, and Reb Tarfon told them to go eat, and then after they ate to say Halal Gadol, we said Halal Gadol is Chilul Hashem Kitov, Kilo Amchazdo, because why at the end of Halal Gadol we say Nois Lechem Chol Basar, right? Kilo Amchazdo, right? So the name of Halal Meikar, let them before they go eat. Why don't they the rain came, right? Shvach, say Halal. Why do you have to eat first? Abayi Rama, Damit Shavayu Lefishin Oimim Halal. You don't say Halal El Al Nefesh Seveya V'Keres Malaya. Only when one is Seveya satiated with a full stomach, then you say Halal.
Yeah, because
Halal. Say Halal God, the Halal God, right?
The rule.
Ini is really so. Rav Papa, guys. Rav Papa Iklal Bekanishta the Abi Goiber. He came to the yeshiv, the shul of a person named Avi Goiver. The Gaza Tanisa, he was Geyser at Tainus. For Yorlam Geshamim at Chatzos, and it fell before Chatzos. Lama Halel. He said halal v'akach ochlu v'shasu. So you see, he ate before. He says shani ben mechuza the shchichi beis shichus. In other words, since it's shai shichus there, you wanted to say halal before shichus, and this is the source for Yeah, look at Rashi. Taisus, excuse me. Shai ben mechuza the shchichi beis shichus. Ulahachi hayoimim halal hagadol koidim sheyochlu v'yishtu. Psuki the Zimra noig. That's what we say b'shachris. Psuki Zimra noig b'shachris. The dafka psuki the Zimra kaid mat tefila. Al b'shas tefila in oimen I say ela benefis sevei v'kem b'leah. In other words, if you'd say it in Shemon Esrei, you would say it in the tefila itself. Then you'd have to say it only when you are satiated. Okay.
Rabbi says that's where that Kishma comes.
Hadron Allah say the Tanias Elo. Okay. So again, tomorrow Bez Hashem, I'll have it posted in the morning.